Hey there, I'm Kate Bornstein, Brown class of 1969. I'm a gender theorist, I'm an actor, I'm a performance artist, I've written a bundle of books, and my first one was Gender Outlaw, which was a big deal. It was the first time there was a real book about non-binary gender, and that's the word for it now. We had no word for it. I used to call myself not man, not woman. And I've written several books since then. A new edition of one of my books called Hello, Cruel World, 101 Alternatives to Suicide for Teens, Freaks, and Other Outlaws is coming out at the end of April. I'm really proud and happy about that thing. I hope you get to read it because these are dark, dark days for a lot of people, and I hope that one helps.
Thank you so much. So I kind of want to bring this to our BAM audience and talk a little bit about gender fluidity and your perspective on it. So to outsiders and people who aren't in queer circles and don't know people who identify as gender nonconforming, it may seem like gender fluidity is like a new trend among Gen Z, but you've been writing about it for decades, showing that that's really not at all the case. So for you, how has the discourse and environment changed over time? Do you think it's easier to be gender nonconforming now, or are there kind of new problems that we're dealing with?
Yes and yes. It is easier to be gender nonconforming these days. There's a space for it among ourselves, and that's important. Among people who are, shall we say, left-leaning or liberal, or by Jane Fonda's definition of woke. Woke just means you give a damn about people. In those circles, it's much easier to be gender nonconforming. Frankly, it was easier in the old days to be gender nonconforming. People just looked at you funny. The full weight of the United States government was not threatening to come down upon you. So there's a lot of danger today that wasn't going on before. People would kill you for it. I mean, you could still get beat up, raped, or thrown overboard or something, but not the whole government. No.
And so I kind of also want to talk about the environment when you were growing up and coming out. What were kind of the factors that helped you realize your identity? Was there scholarship that you were reading? And do you think that your perspective on your identity would be different if you were coming of age now?
Last part of the question is the easiest with my perspective. If I was coming of age now, it would be so much easier. I mean, we got the internet, we got wonderful scholarship available to us now. Everyone from Susan Stryker on is writing really smart stuff about gender. I just wrote some smart ass stuff about it. And it opened some doors, and I'm really happy about that. Coming of age was not the same time as coming out. I didn't come out until the 80s, the mid 1980s, 84 is when I came out. Coming of age was the 50s and 60s. So what do you want to know about? And remember, I'm 77. My memory isn't all that great. And you can put that on as a clip in there, just so people know.
No, I think that the answers the question well. I think that my question was kind of centered around like, what were the tools that helped you realize that? If you felt like there was a gap between when you were coming of age and then how you realized later in life about your identity, what were kind of the main factors that helped you discover that?
Trial and error. I tried my damnedest to live up to my assignment at birth. I was a boy. I grew into young man. I grew into a full-grown adult man. And I couldn't make it work. I kept consciously having to pretend to do this like a man and learning how to do it, watching guys, figuring out how to be a man. None of that fucking worked. So the only other option in those days was woman. And so I figured, well, that's what I must be. And there's a big difference from that's what I am to that's what I must be. I never felt like I was a woman. I don't know what a woman feels like. Being a woman, I don't know what that feels like. But I tried. And I watched women and I rehearsed and I practiced. I'm a good actor. And so I came up with this thing. And yeah, okay, I was living as a woman and it worked, except I kept looking and practicing and it felt like as much of a lie as being a man. And when I came to that conclusion, that was in the mid 80s, let's say, not too far after I transitioned. That was a dark night of the soul. Nowadays it's called detransition. I just continued transitioning. I went, okay, that didn't work. What's next? And what was next for me was, well, I'm not a man and I'm not a woman. I'm alive. I like living the way I am. So what the hell is that? And it was exploration. There was no book. There were drag queens that I could talk to, and I had some really good conversations in San Francisco with some fabulous queens: Doris Fish, Miss X, Tippy. These were all dear friends of mine, and we performed together. I wished I could be a drag queen. I wished it was that simple. I never thought I was that good at it. I liked femme. I thought that's great, but high femme like that, well, I could never pull that off. So we talked, and well, all right, I'm transsexual, and that's what it is. I'm a transsexual woman. Okay, I can live with that one. And trial and error, I was able to write that book. Marjorie Garber wrote a book about, oh golly, okay. Marjorie Garber wrote Vested Interests in '92, and that started to explain things to me. That said, okay, there were people living as neither. Got it. I'm neither. That's simple. Now I can define myself as neither. And the word non-binary is just another way of saying neither. And what I love about it so much is that I'm defining myself by what I'm not. I'm just saying, well, I'm not that. And I get the question, well, what are you? I'm not that. Simple as that.
That's really insightful. I want to transition a little bit to talk about something that you've written quite a lot about, which is the internet. So something that really strikes me about your work, especially in books like Nearly Roadkill and plays like Virtually Yours. I know. You have this optimism about the internet as a space of exploration and play. So my question is, what role do you think the internet plays in the lives of trans and gender nonconforming people? And is the social media landscape we exist in now more toxic than the early internet of like the late 90s and early 2000s?
Again, your last question is the easiest. Yes. I have pretty much, I've taken myself off social media starting back in 2012. I was diagnosed with lung cancer and went into chemo and radiation for 2 years and just totally stopped Twitter and Instagram and all of that, and found out it brought me a lot of peace. And I haven't been online for a long time. And then Trump won the last election. And the day he was inaugurated, I said, fuck it, I have got to be online and be doing something. I know online. I know that I can talk with people. I know how to communicate online in short bursts, because that's how you do it. And in conversations in short bursts. And so I've now signed up at Substack, Kate Bornstein, one word. You're all welcome to see me and join me. It's free. I'm not going to fucking charge for it. You mentioned, I'll get to it in a moment, the fun, what is the role today? You mentioned nearly roadkill. I can't believe you mentioned that. Do you know that a new edition is coming out, a brand
I did
new?
not.
Caitlin and I totally rewrote it. We rewrote it looking back at 1995 and all the things that were going on. So it's fun. It'll be out in September. Call me once you've had a
Perfect.
copy of it, please. Okay.
Okay, I will.
All right. Yes. The internet in those days, America Online, CompuServe, you could go into, they called them chat rooms, and they were private, by invitation only. You could just be anything, be anyone, and talk with people. And it was a wonderful way to practice different ways of being in the world and being honest about stuff without being afraid someone's going to hit you, or without any. I mean, there was no video, there was no audio, so no one would look at you funny, no one would snicker. You would just have a conversation, and text-wise. Do I think that's possible these days? I sure as fuck hope so. I don't see it as possible in what used to be Twitter is now X. I don't see it in Instagram because of Meta. I'm having a good time on Substack, but that's going to die very soon. It'll get corrupted. But right now, Substack is a place for writers to hang out pretty much, and that's good. But there's not much chat going on. There's not much group people chatting. And again, text-based only, which has great advantages. And as you know, we're doing this Google chat thing now.
Yeah.
I love it. I just love this shit. In 1950, when I was in the 50s, when I was growing up, there was a comic strip called Dick Tracy, and he had a two-way wrist radio. And that was, oh my God, you could do that? And it turned on to a two-way wrist video, and impossible, oh boy. And here we are. That's one way of getting along with people. And Zoom meetings are one way to get along with people. But I would hope that someone comes up with a darknet chat space for people who are being targeted.
Yeah. So you kind of are bringing us into the more bleak political scene that we're existing right now. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, like, one of the main ways that trans people in this country are being attacked and targeted is through restricting access to gender affirming care. And so as our story reports in the alumni magazine, this is kind of the time that I'm bringing that up, we talk about how the number of minors getting surgical sex changes is vanishingly small, but it seems to be that people are getting extremely upset about this issue and trying to legislate it in increasingly invasive ways. You've been open about your experience with surgery, and and you said that you realized you weren't exactly a woman and you weren't exactly a man either. In today's world where non-binary is more of an option, do you think you would have made the decision to get surgery? And then also, and then also, like, can you comment on kind of the political attacks on gender affirming care and what you see the value in gender affirming care is?
The word transgender became living in a gender other than the one you were assigned at birth. Simple as that. And it didn't mean hormones, it didn't mean surgery. But now, the only way that trans has managed to mainstream itself is, oh, you're a woman? Oh, I get that. Okay, you're a woman? That's cool. I get it. I know how to relate to you. Oh my God, you need surgery. You need hormones. And this is how parents are treating the 6-year-olds these days. And that sucks.
Yeah.
And I would recommend parents, little boy, assigned male at birth, 6 years old. Mommy, I'm a girl. Yep, that's what you are. And honey, you can be a girl for as long as you want. You can change around. You can be a boy again later. No problem. It's up to you. Oh, so we take the pressure off this little kid. But no, so far we haven't done that. We've gone, you're a girl. Okay, hormone blockers. We need hormone blockers right now. We'll get you a new wardrobe. Stop it. It's going too far. It's gone too far overboard. And it's getting kids' hopes up too much. The only way I can live well is through surgery and hormones. And oh my God, if I don't have that, I'm ruined. I might as well kill myself. Frankly, that's what's going on. And there's not enough, honey, you got time. Oh yeah, but I'll start growing a beard. My voice will change. Yeah. So what? You can get electrolysis, you can shave. Well, we'll give you vocal exercises. Yep, I'll have an Adam's apple. And we'll have fun with that too. But just ease people down. That's not happening. We're maintaining the pressure, and we're saying the only way you're going to be happy is with this medical care that's now being taken away from you. And you go, now, the medical care is being taken away from trans women, trans men who have fully transitioned and have decided, yes, hormones and surgery, my route, this is my fulfillment. That's cool. They've made this decision as 18 or 19 years or older, and they've made it with a lot of information. And if that care is in danger, fuck Trump. Fuck, damn him.
Yeah.
That hurts. That hurts because a person has already given consent to the medical profession. Do your best. Take this and make it something good. And that's a consensual procedure, and you come to depend on it.
I want to end on an optimistic note. No, it's extremely bleak right now. But I'm also so inspired by people like you who are doing this important work. And so as somebody who's been in the community for decades, I want to ask you, what advice do you have to trans and non-binary Gen Zers, and also just all Gen Zers?
Breathe. Ask yourself the hardest questions, the oldest and hardest questions. Who am I? What am I? Why am I here? Nowadays, we answer those with fast food answers. What are you? I'm a man. I'm a woman. I'm non-binary. No, you're not. You're a sentient being who's using whatever gender expression or identity you've settled in as a navigational tool to get through the world more easily and with more comfort. That's it. And if we can understand that you're not your gender, that takes a whole lot of pressure off. Gender-based suffering comes in 3 levels, if you will. The first one is the obvious and very physical one. If you're man, male, there are certain things that go wrong with your body and that are completely dependent on you being this male kind of XY type of person. Prostate cancer, whatever. And female, oh my God, there's a lot more that's going to be not only physical, but misogyny. That's toxic, and that kind of suffering is based in gender. All right, that's one level, it's obvious. On a more subtle level, it's the level of change. Gender is always changing. And what I would say to, as you're saying to Gen Z, anybody, please understand that everything changes. Not only that, everything is changing all the time at this moment. Things are not the same moment to moment. Breathe. So you're there trying to get your gender right. Whether you're cisgender, transgender, non-binary, you're always trying to get your gender right. You buy this in order to smell like a woman. You buy this in order to stand straight like a man. You buy this, you buy, because you're adjusting yourself into the gender you want. The more subtle level of suffering is the suffering of change, because as good as you get it, it's always going to let you down. And the most obvious one of that is old age. That fucks your gender royally. So gender-based suffering, if you put too much weight on gender, it's going to let you down. But the most dangerous level of gender-based suffering is the belief that we are our genders. And that ropes you in too tight. You're not your gender. You're not your race. You're not your age. You're not your class. You're not your education level. You're not your religion. You're not your party in democracy. You're not country mouse or city mouse. You're so much more than that. And your life journey can be figuring out that. And if it gets too bad on, oh my God, my gender's under attack. Oh my God, my race is under attack. Oh my God. Okay, breathe, figure out who you are, and start developing yourself as a whole being. That's what I would suggest.